Yay, I'm live again in your face today to share, react again. The talk hasn't really been good, but anyway, I am consistently fighting the battle on your behalf. So today we'll be dealing with domination marketing. Yesterday we spoke about domination positioning, and today I will be dealing with domination marketing. I just want to ask a question. How were you able to find out about this experience, this coaching experience, this session for 5 days or 6 days? I bet that you were able to find about it because you found out about it because I put it in your face and in the place where you saw it. So either you received it as a message in your inbox, or you got it as a mail, or you read it as a post on Facebook or Instagram. So I communicated that to you and put it in your face, and that was why you came on board. And you didn't just come on board because you like a mechanobase, or a mechanobase is too fine or it's too handsome and all that. You got on board because of the benefits that I put before you, because of the benefits that I communicated as a result of the email you may have received, or the post that you must have read, or the message that dropped to your inbox. There was something that made you to sign up. And looking at the objectives that you wrote down on the first video, you find out that some of your objectives: you want to be the top dog, you want to make a lot of sales, you want to be able to push your brand, you want to. Those are the things that I put in your face that made you to be able to sign up to be part of this experience. And so that is just the essence of marketing. That's the simple thing about it. Marketing is simply communication. That's what it means. And if I want to explain it in very simple terms, is that marketing is simply communicating your ideas, your strategies, your processes, so as to make people to begin to think in new ways that will make them to take action. And action most times is for them to buy from you, for them to listen to your brand, for them to connect with your brand. And that's the essence of the marketing that you're doing. So I repeat again, marketing is simply communicating your ideas, your ideologies, your strategies, your concepts, your processes, your systems, so that people begin to think in a certain direction that is premeditated by you. And so you get them to take certain actions, most times to buy from you, from your brand, from your company, or to connect with you. That's the simple form of defining what marketing is. And what I mean by thinking a certain direction, and let me give you a particular example. Okay, so when it comes to the network marketing industry, right, I'm consistently sharing my ideas, my thoughts, and how network marketing ought to be run. What I'm doing is making people to think in a certain direction, make them to think that network marketing is not all that they think it is. And then at the end of the day, they get to pay attention, they get to connect with me, and then they get to sign up to be part of my team. That is in a nutshell what I do on a consistent basis. That is just what marketing is in a simple manner. That's what marketing is: communicating your ideas, your ideologies, your processes, your thinking patterns, so that people begin to think in new ways, and then they take certain actions, result-oriented actions, most times to buy from you, to connect with your brand, to be part of what you are sharing, and to buy from you, to connect to you, to be part of everything that you're doing as a brand. That's in a nutshell what marketing is. But the thing is that people, when they are marketing, they are focusing keenly on the technicality. And I give you a particular example. So yesterday I was in the office and I came and I wanted to go live, and I had a friend of mine who had visited, and then he uses the same facility also here. And so he saw my webcam, this particular camera that I'm using to go live and share with you. So he saw it, and then he saw my laptop, my Mac laptop, and then he began to ask me, does your laptop have, your Mac laptop have Retina Eye? Does it have this? How many gigabytes is it? When did you buy it? What make is it? How many pixels for your camera and all that? And I told the guy, I don't understand all these things you're saying. Those are technical jargons which you're telling me. I bought this because the day I saw someone using it, it was bright, it was beautiful, and that's why I bought it. In a simple simple response. Okay, that's why I bought it. I didn't bother myself to understand how many pixelations and all that. I just asked the guy, what's the name of the gadget you use? And he said to me, Logitech C920. Fine. I bought it, and that's what I'm using because it's beautiful. It's because you can see the video clearly. You can see me clearly. It's high definition, and that's just why I bought it. And then for my Mac is because I love the interface. I can work on it at night when there's no light and all that kind of stuff. That's just because those are the reasons I bought these devices. So instead of me to start thinking about the technicalities, to think about how many pixels and all that kind of stuff, I don't have that time. And the thing is that this is the same way people behave. They're not thinking about all the technicalities. They are thinking about how this thing will serve them, and they go ahead to buy. Now, let me give you a particular example. So this is in my hands now. I have this. This is a peel, right? This is a peel. Let's say this is a supplement actually, but let's say this peel is can help cure malaria. Let's give a particular example. And then you have malaria. God forbid that you have malaria, but you have malaria, right? And then you have malaria, and then your doctor comes and says, "Hey, take this peel, and you'll be fine." Do you go ahead asking your doctor how many milligrams the drug is? Does it contain metabendazole or cortisone or whatever, all those chemical compounds? I doubt if you do that. You take the drug, you swallow the drug so that you can get well, because the drug has a benefit of making you to get well. But that particular thing that people do that's not making them to communicate effectively is because they are always focusing on the technicalities. So they tell you about what's contained in the drug, how many milligrams and all that, forgetting the fact that people may not really care about all that, but how will it make them to get the results that they are seeking for. That's how you ought to communicate your that's how you ought to communicate your brand, how to communicate your ideas, your processes, your thinking, communicating from the standpoint of benefits. You have to always pitch the benefits, because in pitching the benefits, you begin to speak the language of your audience. You begin to speak the language of the market, because in pitching the benefits, you are hitting them at their pain points, their desires, what they want, and then in return, they want to take that action to buy from you and then use it for themselves so that they experience the results that they are seeking. That's what you ought to be doing, pitching the benefits all the time, forgetting the technicalities. I'm not saying the technicalities are wrong or you shouldn't do that from time to time, but understand that it's about the benefits. The more you communicate the benefits, the more you get people emotionally connected to what it is that you're offering as a brand or what you're selling as a product or a service, and then they will in turn get to buy from you. That's the secret to the whole thing. Now let's take, for example, that you want to launch a salon for kids. How will you begin to communicate about this brand? How will you begin to speak the language of the people that you're trying to reach out to? So let's take, for example, you have this salon that you're opening, or you already have a salon specifically targeted at kids, okay? So you have a salon in the neighborhood and you're targeting kids in the neighborhood. Let me share with you a few things that you have to be focusing on when you're communicating. Number one is safety, okay? So will your salon have minders? So when the people in the neighborhood bring their kids for them to be worked on, maybe the girls to work on their hair, let's take, for example, there are 10 of them at the same time at the salon. Do you have minders that take care of these kids so that the parents can leave the kids and walk away without them being there? You have minders. That is what you have to communicate. You are communicating safety if you talk about your salon having minders. Now, let's take, for example, also another thing. I realize that anytime I take my girls to go to make their hair, they're always edgy, they're always running around and all that. But we found out that when we give them snacks, or we give them something like cheese balls, they focus. They can be eating the cheese balls and then they have their hair made. So the cheese balls also solves the problem of food. So I don't need to spend on buying cheese balls, right? They provide the cheese balls. So will your salon be providing something like that, like cheese balls, or something that they can chew on, something they can snack on while waiting to have their hair made or while they are making their hair? So if you communicate that, if you share that you will provide snacks for kids to come as part of what they are paying for, then you're communicating from the standpoint of food, which is also a desire or a want or a problem that ought to be solved. Now, let's look at the issue of health. You're communicating from the standpoint of health. Now, in this time and era where HIV is all over the place, certain viruses are spreading so fast and all that kind of stuff, when you tell them that for every kid that will come to the salon, that they'll be worked on with a new set of kits. So a new set of kits we worked on will be used for every kind of for every child that comes. Just the same way that when you go to the hospital, they use new injections in new needles all the time to inject you. That's the same thing that you want to do for the kids. For everyone that comes, they have their own set of kits so that they don't have to share with another person, another kid. That is communicating from the standpoint of health. That is it. So you share from the standpoint of health. Now, from the standpoint of time also, because you find out that many parents are busy working people, and so they wouldn't want to come into your shop, even if it's on a Saturday, and then they're sitting down there for 2 or 3 hours just to have the hair of their child made. So if you communicate to us and tell us that for every child that comes to the shop, that you have 2 people attending to the child so that they can have the hair made in less than an hour, what do you think you're doing? You're communicating from the standpoint of time, which is a problem to a lot of individuals. So we see safety, food, health, and time. When you communicate these things, right, your processes, your strategies along this standpoint, people will want to come to your salon. Those that you're targeting will want to come to your salon, even though you're not using social media to communicate. When you go knocking on doors in that neighborhood and telling them that this is what you offer from the standpoint of health, from safety, from time, and food. Trust me, they will want to bring their children to your shop, to your salon. That's how it works. Now, how do you do this? When it comes to marketing, how do you do? How do you know how to communicate from the standpoints, the problems that you have to be communicating? Your solutions to. Number one is observation. You have to have a great penchant, a great affinity for observation. So because in business, you're consistently observing. So you're observing, you're seeing what people are saying, you're listening to what people are saying. When you're listening to the news, when you're in the car, for example, if you're in the bus and all that, and you're riding somewhere, what people are saying on the streets, in the clubs, and what are people saying? You have to observe with your eyes. You're observing and you're listening. So observation, listening, observation, listening. So you're observing all the time. You're observing with your eyes what people are saying and what people are, and then you're listening to what they are saying. You are connecting to them to really understand their pain points. That is one way. These two ways are ways that you can understand what the market wants. Then the other thing is to ask. I'm always asking. So, for example, when I'm working with authors that I've connected to, and I ask them, okay, what do you think is the greatest problem you're experiencing when it comes to authoring your books? Most of the time, they tell me that it's in the selling. They want to understand how to sell the books and make 1,000 sales within, say, 90 days. And so that's why when people who know what I do, who connect to what I do, I'm not about the writing. I'm about how you can write the book and sell the book. How can you market the book? How can you sell it so that they can make money from the sales of your book? So that's the problem that I'm solving because I asked questions. So you've got to learn how to ask questions, even from your current customers or people that you want them to be your customers. Ask questions in ways that you want to elicit the kind of answers that will make you to fashion out solutions for them. Then the other thing is to use your intuition. So intuition is sometimes that you feel that this is the problem that people have. You feel that the solution should be this, and then you go ahead to test with the solution that you provided. So I give you a particular example, which didn't work 2 years back, 2017. By the time I had resigned from my job, a lot of individuals started asking me, how did you do it? How did you resign from your job? I want you to help me and understand how I can resolve. So I just felt by intuition that that's the problem that they experience. And trust me, it was real. But when I tested out and I found out that though it was a problem, but they were not willing to even resign from their jobs at the time because of fear, because they didn't have something to fall back on. And so having gotten that feedback, I had to think about, okay, if you resign from your job, what else will you fall back on? So that I didn't go ahead to solve that problem or to create that solution, but because by intuition, I found what the problem was. But in trying to test it out, I couldn't figure out how to create that solution for them at the end of the day. So you have an intuition, but you have to test it out. So it's not just having an intuition and then you go ahead to create products and then you put it out in the market and nobody's buying. For example, I saw something that was funny sometime. Somebody went and created shoes for dogs or something like that, so that when dogs are walking around in the house, they wouldn't mess up the whole house. I think the guy also did pants for dogs, something like that. So when they want to urinate, they urinate in their panties or something. But it brought it to the market, it didn't sell. It didn't sell because people weren't caring for that. So that's the feeling, that's an intuition, but it didn't sell. So observe, listen, ask, and work on your intuition. So that is it about marketing, domination marketing. And for your assignment today, I want you to go in the comment section and write at least 10 problems that your brand has set out to solve in that particular area that you want to be the top dog. There are problems that you have to solve. So what are the 10 problems that your brand can solve? So when after listing the problems, then tell me how you can communicate that to the prospects or to your audience. So 10 problems, and how would you communicate that in the language that they will understand? If you do this assignment, I will come in there with you and I will help you to clarify and refine it so that you can do create those communication materials effectively. So go ahead and do it, and then I'll meet you in the comment section. So thank you for watching again. I'll connect with you in the comment section. Ciao.